Hi, you're on Reddit Confessions, where silence hides secrets and one decision can change everything. It wasn't the screams. It wasn't the crying. It was the silence right after she read the note, that sharp, almost unnatural pause, that told me I finally did something right. She was laughing just an hour before, sitting at a bar under low amber lights, sipping from a glass she always claimed was too fancy for whiskey. She looked comfortable, carefree, like the man sitting next to her was the only one who ever made her feel alive. Spoiler, that man wasn't me. I wasn't spying. Not really. I was across town, eating leftover pasta straight out of the Tupperware like a cliché. But I knew where she was, knew what she was doing. And this time, I wasn't going to play the role of the clueless fool who smiled through betrayal. See, I had already mailed the ring. Not with roses. Not with a heartfelt card. I packed it in a small black box, taped it shut, and attached a note with 10 words on it. 10 words that would blow up everything she built behind my back. It arrived at the bar like any other delivery. The bartender tapped her shoulder. She smiled politely, probably assuming it was some dramatic gesture from her secret lover. She opened it, and just like that, the night turned. Phones lit up. He looked confused. She froze. The note fell onto the counter. The note said, "Return this to the man who earned it." Oh wait, he's gone. That was the night I disappeared. No confrontation. No argument. No closure. Just silence. But don't worry, that's not the end. It's just where everything truly begins. I didn't go off the grid completely. I just turned off everything she had access to. New number. New email. Logged out of every shared streaming account. The last breadcrumb she had of me was that small ring box, and the look on her face when she opened it. I didn't need to be there to see it. I imagined it every time I blinked. That night, I booked a room at a cheap in 2 towns over. The kind of place that smelled like wet carpet and cigarettes from 10 years ago. But it was quiet. No calls. No notifications. Just me. The hum of a mini fridge, and a twisted feeling in my chest that I couldn't name. Was it relief? Was it grief? I wasn't sure. All I knew was, I didn't want to go back to being that guy. The one who ignored the fact that Mara never once said, "I love you," without being prompted. By morning, my phone had 37 missed calls. Not from her. From our mutual friends. From her sister. Even from my old coworker Jonah, who she claimed she barely knew. Curious choice. I didn't answer a single one. But I did open my email, just once. And that's when I saw it. Subject: "You're being dramatic." It was from Mara. She wrote, "If this is about the bar, you're overreacting. Clay and I are just friends. I don't know why you would embarrass me like that. You made a scene. Everyone saw. I think you owe me an explanation." I stared at the screen for so long my eyes blurred. She wasn't apologizing. She wasn't even denying it convincingly. She was doing what she always did. Flipping the spotlight around so I'd question whether I'd gone too far. The thing is, I had proof. I didn't tell her that. But I had screenshots, voice notes, even a photo she accidentally backed up to our shared cloud folder 2 weeks ago. The one where she's sitting in the passenger seat of Clay's car, wearing the necklace I gave her on our 2nd anniversary. The caption reading, "He doesn't deserve to know yet." No, Mara. I didn't make a scene. I gave you a stage. And you performed. Next, it was my turn to disappear, in a way she'd never expect. The thing about liars is they always forget the little details. They remember the big lies, the ones they rehearse and dress up, but they overlook the crumbs they leave behind. Crumbs like synced photo backups, lazy screen names, or voice memos they thought were deleted, but lived in the cloud we both shared. Mara wasn't dumb. She was just arrogant enough to believe I'd never look. I didn't plan on revenge. That's not who I am. I'm the guy who apologizes when someone else bumps into him. I'm the guy who once brought Mara soup when she was sick, and still ended up sleeping on the couch that night because she needed space. But something inside me shifted after that email. Not anger. Not bitterness. Just clarity. And when clarity hits, it doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with calm. I spent the next day organizing everything, sorting through messages, screenshots, even a short screen recording of her FaceTiming Clay while I was at my mom's birthday dinner. She told him, "He's sweet, but dull. I feel like I'm rotting when I'm around him." She laughed. He said, "So why are you still there?" She shrugged and said, "Because I don't want to start from zero again." That's what I was to her. Placeholder. A warm body who paid the rent on time and didn't ask for much. She'd built this little theater of a relationship while rehearsing a different life behind the curtains. And I, like an idiot, kept clapping from the front row. I uploaded everything to a secure drive, set the permissions to view only, and drafted a single message. I sent it to her sister, her best friend, and the few people who reached out to me demanding my side of the story. No caption, no explanation, just the link. Then I left the inn. But I didn't go home. Instead, I drove 8 hours straight to my old college roommate's cabin upstate. I hadn't talked to Devin in years, but when he opened the door, all I said was, "I need somewhere quiet." He didn't ask questions. That night, the stars looked different, like they weren't just there for show, like they saw everything, and had finally decided to light my way out. The next morning, Mara's sister called. I didn't pick up, but the voicemail changed everything. I didn't listen to the voicemail right away. I saw her name, Lena, pop up on my screen as I was pouring stale coffee into a chipped mug. My hands were still shaking, not from fear, but from that strange adrenaline that comes after you've finally stopped lying to yourself. I'd made my move. No turning back. I figured Lena was calling to defend Mara. Maybe to scream. Maybe to beg me to keep things private. They always say that when they're scared of the truth getting out. But about an hour later, as the wind rattled the windows of the cabin and I was left alone with only my thoughts and the hum of the fridge, I hit play. Her voice was low, rushed, like she wasn't supposed to be calling at all. "Curtis, I don't know if you'll even listen to this, but I didn't know about Clay, about any of it. She said you were working through stuff and that's why she'd been distant. But that video you sent, that broke me too. I can't believe it. And there's something else. You should know. Clay's not just some guy. He's..." The message cut off. 47 seconds. That's all she left. No follow-up. No text. No second call. I must have replayed it 10 times, each time pausing right before the last sentence. My stomach turned. My mind started sprinting through every possibility. He's... what? Her ex? Her boss? Her relative? My mind spun itself into knots it couldn't untangle. So I did the one thing I promised myself I wouldn't do. I opened Mara's old iPad, the one she'd left in my car a few months ago and never bothered to pick up. It was dead, dusty, and still tucked in the glove compartment under a crumpled grocery receipt and a half-used chapstick. When it finally powered on, I held my breath. It was still logged in. No password changes. No remote wipe. Just a frozen world of unfiltered chaos. Photos, messages, calendar invites, notes, everything she never thought I'd see. And there, buried between a calendar reminder for drinks with Clay and a saved draft of a breakup text she never sent, was a message chain with someone named Grady. I didn't recognize the name at first, but when I opened the chat, it hit me like a sledgehammer. "Thanks for keeping our secret. He still thinks you're Clay." No punctuation, no apology, just that single sentence sent 2 days before I mailed the ring. I wasn't even mad anymore. I was cold. Not only was she cheating, she was lying about who he was, and the real identity. That was gonna hurt a lot more than I thought. I didn't recognize the name Grady because I had no reason to. But the moment I saw his face in the message thread, blurry, half-lit selfies, screenshots from FaceTime, a short video of him laughing in a hotel mirror, it clicked. Not because I'd ever met him, but because I'd seen him before, just not as Grady. I scrolled until I found it. A picture of the two of them, side by side, drinks in hand, captioned with a fire emoji and Clay's Place Fire. The man I thought was Clay didn't exist. He was Grady all along. Why lie about his name? That question haunted me more than the affair itself. It wasn't just about hiding the cheating anymore, it was about hiding him. And the deeper I scrolled, the worse it got. Grady wasn't just some random guy. He was her ex-fiancé. The one she told me had emotionally manipulated her back in college. The same man she once swore she'd never speak to again. The man she told me to block when he randomly followed me on social media months ago. She spun a whole narrative around how he traumatized her, how she needed space, just seeing his name. But here they were, taking weekend trips, exchanging I love yous, even booking a spa package at a place I once offered to take her to for our anniversary. She told me it was too expensive. Turns out, she was just saving it for someone else. I dropped the iPad on the bed, sat back in Devon's creaky armchair, and stared out the window at nothing. I felt stupid, not just for missing the signs, but for defending her for so long. For believing her when she cried after I asked if something was wrong. For carrying guilt that wasn't even mine. She made me believe I was the problem. That I wasn't adventurous enough, charming enough, or spontaneous enough to keep her interested. But the truth was, she never wanted to be kept. She just wanted me around long enough to make leaving look noble. The next day, Lena called again. This time I answered. She was crying. "Curtis," she said, voice cracking. "Grady's not just her ex. He's the reason she left school for a year. He's the reason she stopped talking to Dad. She told me she cut him out. She swore she did. I didn't say anything. Then she added, he's married now." And just like that, the hole I thought couldn't get deeper dropped out beneath me. I didn't ask for more details. I didn't need to. The moment Lena said those 3 words, "He's married now," I felt something loosen in my chest. Not like relief, but like a final thread snapping. The image of Mara sitting at that bar, smiling with a man who had a whole other life, while I was home with our future in a ring box. That picture would never leave me. And now I had to live with the fact that she wasn't just lying to me. She was helping him lie to someone else, too. I asked Lena if she'd spoken to Mara since the email. She hesitated. "She's been calling me non-stop," she said, "saying you're overreacting, that you misunderstood. But Curtis, she's not sorry. She's panicking. That's not the same thing." That sentence stuck with me more than anything. She wasn't sorry. She was just afraid of being exposed. I spent that day walking through the woods behind the cabin. Just trees, wind, and the crunch of dry leaves underfoot. I thought about the version of myself Mara had shaped over the years. The quieter I got, the more she seemed satisfied. The less I questioned her, the more peaceful things were. And now I realized, she wasn't in love with me. She was in love with the version of me who didn't interfere. Around sunset, I got a text from an unknown number. "Curtis, please, talk to me. I can explain. M." I stared at it for a few seconds. Then another followed. "It wasn't what you think. It was complicated. Please don't do this." And then, just 30 seconds later, "You're ruining everything." Not "I'm sorry." Not "I made a mistake." Just me, ruining her carefully constructed version of events. I didn't respond. Instead, I did something I didn't expect. I looked up Grady's wife. It wasn't hard. A few searches and I found her. Camille Donahue, elementary school teacher, Sunday brunch enthusiast, married for 6 years. I stared at her photo, smiling, standing next to a man who'd been sneaking around behind her back, using a fake name, in love with my fiancé. My stomach turned, and I knew right then, Mara wasn't my problem anymore. But Camille, she deserved to know everything. I wasn't sure what I was expecting when I dialed Camille's number. Maybe no answer. Maybe a voice so kind and trusting that I'd lose the nerve to say anything at all. I stared at my phone for 20 minutes before I pressed the call button. My hand was shaking like I was the one doing something wrong. But I reminded myself, I didn't destroy a marriage. I was just the fallout. She answered on the 3rd ring. Calm, polite, unaware. "Hello." My mouth was dry. "Hi. Is this Camille Donahue?" "Yes." "Who's this?" I took a breath, then dove straight in. "You don't know me. My name's Curtis. I think your husband is having an affair with my fiancée." The silence was deafening. I could hear her breathing, could almost hear her blinking on the other end. And then she laughed, softly, not in amusement, but like someone who'd just been handed a truth they weren't ready for but had always suspected. "I knew it," she said quietly. "I knew something was off." I told her everything. I didn't hold back. I gave her names, dates, even screenshots I had saved in a folder I titled, "Just in Case." I didn't sugarcoat who Mara was or what she'd done. And Camille? She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just listened. The way I had listened to Mara for years while she fed me lies. When I finished, she thanked me. Actually thanked me. And then she said, "You did the right thing. I wish someone had done this for me years ago." That sentence stayed with me for hours. Later that night, I got a message from Mara. "You talked to her? Seriously? Are you trying to ruin my life?" No apology. No shame. Just rage. I didn't reply. The next morning, my old apartment keys were slid under Devon's cabin door in an envelope. No return address. Just the keys and a typed note that said, "I moved out. You got what you wanted. Congrats." I stared at that envelope for a long time. She thought I wanted her gone. She didn't get it. I didn't want her gone. I wanted the truth. And now that I had it, I didn't need her at all. The apartment was empty when I returned. Not just physically, emotionally, too. No scent of her candles. No rogue strands of hair left in the bathroom. No half-finished coffee mugs on the counter, like she always used to leave behind. It should have felt hollow, lonely, but instead it felt still. Like peace was finally allowed to breathe inside these walls. Her absence didn't echo. It healed. I packed the last of her things, the stuff she didn't bother to take, into a box labeled Misk. I didn't plan on returning it. I didn't even want it near me. I left it at a donation center with no note. Let someone else decide what to do with her old sweaters and unused yoga mats. That life was gone. And honestly, so was the version of me that tolerated it. In the weeks that followed, I stayed at the cabin. Devon helped me get out of my own head, mostly by forcing me to chop wood and listen to terrible vinyl records. And in that quiet, I started writing again. Something I hadn't done since college. Not about her. About me. My story. What I ignored. What I survived. What I'm rebuilding. As for Camille, she thanked me again. She said she left him quietly without warning. He asked me why I was calm, she told me. I said, "Because I already grieved who you used to be." That stuck with me. It wasn't about revenge. It was about release. Mara never reached out again. Not really. A few vague emails. One voicemail where she cried, claimed she made a mistake, said she missed what we had. But I didn't listen past the first few seconds. I already knew how the story ended. The truth is, I never lost her. She was never really mine. What I lost was the illusion, and what I gained was the freedom to finally live on my own terms. Thanks for watching Reddit Confessions. If you've ever been through something that forced you to rebuild yourself, piece by piece, we'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment below. What's the moment that changed your life forever? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your story. Because here on Reddit Confessions, the truth might hurt, but healing always follows.